Hello everyone again. So this is the second part of our lesson, which is about grammar, and the title is relative clauses or relative pronouns. So relative clauses or relative pronouns, we use them in fact simply to avoid repetition. So we'll try to have a look at the examples on the left and then move to the presentation. Examples number one, Messi is the person or the player who played for FCB for all his life. So who we this pronoun or this relative pronoun we use it for people to avoid repetition. Instead of telling you Messi is the player, Messi played in his or with FCB for all his life. I tell you simply Messi is the player who played for FCB for all his life. Two, the book which is on the table is my mother's. So which we use it for objects. So instead of telling you that book on the table, that book is okay belongs to my mother. So I tell you directly, and in order to avoid repetition, I tell you the book which is on the table is my mother's. Or okay, so this is it. Three, I watch Jackie Chan, whose movies are funny. So instead of telling you I watch Jackie Chan, his movies are funny. So I tell you I watch Jackie Chan, whose movies or whose films are funny. So when we have possessive adjectives, we use whose. It's okay. Four, that's the girl whom you invited to the party last weekend. Suppose you're okay. I'm going. Okay, you're going with your friend, and you saw a girl, and okay, last weekend you had a party and you invited that girl. So instead of telling your friend, "Oh, that is the girl. I invited her to the party." So I invited the girl and her. So you repeat the subject, which is impossible. So instead of telling him that, so you tell him just that's the girl whom you invited to the party last weekend, and whom you meet the girl or you invited the girl, you invited her, and her is object pronoun. So when we have object pronouns, we use whom, and when we have possessive adjectives, we use whose. Five, France is the country or the place where my friend spent his last summer holiday. Where we use it simply for the place. Suppose you meet one of your friends in Canada after 10 years, and then he tells you, where were you born? You tell him, Morocco is the country where I was born. So country is a place. 1994 is the year when John was born. When we use it for the time, and the time it could be a day, it could be a year, it could be a date. It's okay. So it depends on the context which you are speaking. For example, 15 March is the time when the quarantine started. So 15 March is the time or is the month when the quarantine started. So when we use it for the time. Uh, or suppose, for example, last weekend you had a quiz and you tell him or you tell your friend, last weekend was the time when I had the quiz. So the weekend is also the concept speaking about the time. Seven, the man that or who is standing over there is my little brother. So that or who we use it for people. Eight, and finally, the cat that is under the table is very cute. So as you can notice, that we can use it for both people, for persons, for humans, and for inhumans, or for animals, or for objects. We can use it also for objects, okay? We have a conversation above on the right, the man and the woman. Oh, look, that's the actor whose films we love. Are you sure? Yes, he is on. Yes, he is the one who's always in films with Julia Roberts. I don't recognize him. Don't you remember his film about bank robbery which goes wrong? It was hilarious. Oh, I know the one. So is that his girlfriend? Yes. but it isn't the same girlfriend that he brought last year. Really? What happened? Well, the newspapers say he won't answer the phone one day when she called him. So we're going to go to presentation and explain in details the course. Use who, which, that, whose, where, and when to introduce defining relative clauses. These clauses give us essential information about people, things, possessions, places, or time. Use who for the people. He's an actor who makes science fiction films. So, as I said before, we use who for people. Use which for things. I only watch films which make me laugh. We can replace also which with that. I only watch films that make me laugh. Okay, so which and that, as I said before, we can use them for both for objects. Use whose for possessions. That's the actor whose new film we saw last week. So as I said, when we have positive adjectives, we use whose. And in this presentation, whom is missing, but no problem. We covered it before. Use where for a place. That's the town where we met. Okay, the town, the place, the country, the city, I don't know, the classroom, the house. So everything, a place or every place we use for the place where. Finally, use when for a time. He wouldn't answer the phone one day when she called him. As I said, the concept of the time, it could be a date, it could be a year, it could be, I don't know. So speaking, as I said, it depends depending on the context which you are talking about. You can also use that for people or things instead of who or which. It isn't the same girlfriend that he brought last year. So this is what I said before, that could be used also for people. Finally, it isn't the same girlfriend who he brought last year. So who also could be used that could be used instead of who. So who and that can be both used for people. So this is the course in brief. Now we move to the part of the exercises.
Exercise 2.
We've got, as
This
usual,
is the
four
villa where we
exercises.
stayed.
The first one
It
says
was next to the sea.
from 1 to 6.
Looks nice.
To
It
A
was.
to F.
And
you're going to match
these are the people whose car we borrowed.
The sentences.
They were very generous.
Exercise 2.
Yes,
complete
they
the
were.
Conversation with the
Who's
words in the
this?
box. Then
He's the
listen
man
and
who
check.
showed us round the island.
Of course,
He was a
terms we have in
really
the
good
box,
tour
when,
guide.
where, which, who, whose,
One day we went
which
to a
are relative
parade,
pronouns.
which always takes place
listen
at the end of
very,
the summer.
Carefully to
Here's a
the
photograph of
report
it.
and fill in the
It's a
blanks.
special day when everyone dresses up and walks through the streets.
People whose car we borrowed. The end of the summer. Here's a photograph of it. It's a special day.
Okay, exercise 3. Complete the sentences with who, which, whose, where, or when, and the phrases in the box. The phrases in the box, we have A, B, C, D, and E. A controls the traffic. B, new song we like so much. C, store information. D, you can relax. E, and finally, you feel a little special. We're going to replace from 1 to E in the right places from 1 to 5. Exercise 4, and finally, you're going to complete the sentences that they are true for you. Try to imagine or make up examples. So I was very happy and glad to explain to you this course, both parts, the part of hygiene in hotels and restaurants, and the grammar, which is about relative clauses or relative pronouns. So as usual, if you have any questions, remarks, or suggestions, you are welcome, and don't hesitate to contact me at any time you like. I wish you the best of luck.